Johnny and Clyde Big Book Study. That's what's up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jonathan and Clyde the Rocketman Big Book Study. We're just two sober alcoholics studying and discussing the Big Book the way that Joe and Charlie did back in the day. So let's start with a moment of silence, followed by the set aside prayer to be read by Kelly today.
I don't have it. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Set aside prayer. God, today help me set aside everything I think I know about you, everything I think I know about myself, everything I think I know about others, and everything I think I know about my own recovery, so I may have an open mind and a new experience with all these things. Please help me see the truth.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wow. Help us to see the truth today, our higher power. Okay, now listen, in 1973, Joe McHugh introduced Charlie P. as the AA speaker at an Al-Anon convention. Joe and Charlie soon discovered that they both shared a love for the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. So they started traveling between their homes and discussing the Big Book, and it became a regular event. You see, Clyde and cousin Jonathan met in the original Zoo Crew in 2022, and we both discovered that we had a love for the Big Book. So after studying the book together, someone asked us to do a podcast, and here we are today. We meet here every Sunday at 2 p.m. until 3:30 in this room. Please have your big books handy so that you can read along. You might want to even take some notes. And this is a participation podcast. So as we read, if things come to you that you want to share, just raise your hand. We will be recording the audio, so please, we will be recording the audio of these meetings. So please share them with others on our podcast. Go to our website at thezoocrew.org. So the purpose of this Big Book Study meeting is to help you when you're meeting with a prospect or what we might call a sponsee, or just talking about sobriety in general. See, we want you to be armed with the facts about yourself and the AA program, because freedom from alcohol comes through taking the 12 steps. Now, this is what the 12 steps are. You'll find them on page 15 in the 12 and 12. The 12 steps are a group of principles, spiritual in nature, which, if practiced as a way of life, can expel the obsession to drink and enable a sufferer to become happily and usefully whole. How soon do you want to be happy, joyous, and free? We suggest that you purchase a copy of the Big Book for future use if you don't have one. You might want to underline, highlight, and even take notes as we study together. Please order your AA literature directly from AA so that the money goes to Alcoholics Anonymous and so that you get a good copy. See, here in the original Zoom, we are not advocating that you rush through the steps, but we highly suggest that you have a sense of urgency in taking the 12 steps and having them become a way of life sooner than later. Listen, act as if this was a matter of life and death, because it actually is a matter of life or death. Once again, how soon do you want to be happy, joyous, and free? You could go to our website at thezoocrew.org to order a copy of the Big Book, or you can just read it online. The Big Book is our basic text, and it contains a full recipe for recovery. It's impossible to find a loophole in the Big Book that excludes you from being a member of AA. Okay, so we're going to get started. We're in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. We are on page 63, and I'm going to have Clyde come in and bring us up to speed. And then we're going to pick up right in the middle of the page where it says the inconsistencies are made worse by the things he does on his sprees. Remember, that's where we left off at. Come on in, Clyde.
Okay, thanks, cousin. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm an alcoholic. My name's Clyde. And just to, put things in perspective of where we're at in the book, we're studying the book together. And the first 5 chapters, we've taken the first 4 steps. The directions for taking the first 4 steps are included in the first 5 chapters of the book. And now we're on into chapter 6, into action. We started this last week. And so this chapter goes from page 72 through 88. Okay, it's 26 pages long, and it goes in order, steps 5 through 11. And the directions are all spelled out in a row. And so we're on step 5. And the opening line to this chapter 6 into action, we read it last week, is having made our personal inventory, that was our 4th step, what shall we do about it? And so it's talking about our 5th step. So it let us know, it reminded us that we've admitted certain defects, we've ascertained in a rough way what the trouble is. I'm on page 72, by doing our inventory, our 4-step inventory. And the big defects that we identified and the trouble, the big 4 were anger and resentment, dishonesty, selfishness, and self-centeredness, and then fear. And so, and we also are inconsiderate and intolerant. And I mean, there's some other stuff in there too, our defects. But the good news is this 5th step, it says that these are about to be cast out, and it requires action. And so the action is, we've admitted to God and to ourselves that we have these character defects. Now it's time to admit them to another human being. Okay, that's what this 5th step is all about. Having an honest discussion about what's wrong with me, where am I, these defects of character, shortcomings, things I've admitted are objectionable, whatever you want to call them, need to be discussed with another person. And that's what the 5th step is all about. And then, so Bill tells us it's perhaps difficult to discuss our weaknesses and problems with other people, because of pride and because in the middle of page 73, it says, more than most people, the alcoholic leads a double life, very much the actor. So we want to show people our stage character and act like we're afraid that if people know who we really are, that they're not going to like us, they're going to think less of us. And so we put on this persona, this facade, so that people think we're better than we really are. And we know we don't deserve it, though. So that's where we're at in the process. We're going to be admitting our defects and having a discussion with other people about it. So they're talking about how important it is. If we don't do this, we're probably going to drink. So he said, the most important reason we have to do this is we may not overcome drinking if we don't. And so the reason it's difficult really is because of our, stage character and this double life that we have. And so we're going to pick up now. So Cousin, do you want to read, or do you want me to read in the middle of page 73?
No, I'll start out reading, and
Okay.
then you'll be able to come in, because it's going to be a lot of discussion here, I believe.
Okay.
Don't be shy about raising your hand. So, I definitely identify with this. It says that that I wanted to enjoy a certain reputation, in the world, but I knew in my heart that I did not deserve it. So true. I put a star next to that. Well, that was me, But I love this part here. It says the inconsistency is made worse by the things he does on his sprees. Coming to his senses, he is revolted at certain episodes he vaguely remembers. These memories are nightmares. He tremors to think someone might have observed him. As fast as he can, he pushes these memories far inside himself. He hopes they will never see the light of day. That's that thing that I just won't tell anyone. I'm taking it to the grave. This is the paragraph that's talking about the stuff I'm going to take to the grave. And I use this analogy. I was telling Clyde about it. And when I think about that, on a spree, that you don't remember what happened, and then what you do remember, you wish never happened. And I use the analogy of going out and drinking and blacking out, of course, and waking up in a strange place, naked, with strange people standing around me, smiling. Wow. A guy, a girl, and a dog. And I'm wondering what the hell happened here. And all they say is, we'll see you next time. Can anyone identify with that? Let's talk about these inconsistencies that we hope never see the light of day. It's that thing that I'm just not going to tell anybody, or I wouldn't tell anybody, but I have done a fifth step, and I did tell that thing that I thought that I would never tell anyone. Any questions, comments, or shares on that? The plot thickens, huh? The plot thickens. Okay.
It's Kelly. I'm an alcoholic. So it says, come to his senses. He is revolted. And that they come to his senses. So, I believe this is a heart condition that is being worked. And then I know we've talked about rational mind and irrational mind. That's the inconsistency of my walk, the things I do. So I just, I think I intentionally try so hard to do good things that I don't feel comfortable doing them, but that's better than, doing what I normally do, which is the negative things, that I've done because I was such a blackout drinker. It's so much easier to just be irrelevant to any consequences that I come upon, other than, being strong and getting through things that I've suppressed and having to deal with those, and being able to stand up as a better citizen today, saying I've had those experiences, and this is where I'm trying to say, this was where my heart was, this is where my mind was, and this is what I have to do to keep getting back to rational thinking. I don't know.
Okay, great. Hey, listen, I just want to ask a question, and this is not to share that thing or anything, but this is the question that I just want to ask, because this is a program of honesty. And it says his inconsistencies are made worse by the things he does on his sprees. Coming to his senses, he is revolted at certain episodes he vaguely remembers. These memories are a nightmare. He tremors to think that someone might have observed him. As fast as he can, he pushes these memories far inside himself. He hopes they never see the light of day. Whether you've discussed it or not, can anybody identify with that? That's just a yes or no question, and I say yes. Just
I
a yes or
say
no.
yes too.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you to say that thing, but can you identify with having a situation where you're like, oh, nobody ever finds out about this shit?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We're clear on that. We had a hand up. Come on in.
Yeah, Patty. I think Patty was.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, I wanted to mention that this part, I remember I always blacked out. So I remember just waking up in the morning and not having a memory yet. But as the day went on, I would just get these little images of like what I did remember. And I was like, oh, it was just like, I was so disgusted. Okay. So by the evening, it was like more drinking because I didn't want to remember them. So I'm like pushing them further in, but I'm just going along drinking and again, getting blacked out drunk. So yeah, I'm glad I'm not there anymore. But yeah, I could totally relate with this.
Okay. Anyone else before we move on? And the thing about it is, if we stay sober, this doesn't happen anymore. We don't black out from not fucking drinking. At least I do.
It's funny you mentioned that, cousin. When I was using and abusing alcohol, and my anger was kicking in with my mental illness, the freaking FBI wanted to come take me away. So I suffered severe consequences of my alcoholism. So I totally understand.
And I bet that some of the things that they were coming to see you about, you probably didn't even remember, right?
Heck no.
Wow, that's deep. When the FBI is standing at your door and you don't know why, and you really don't remember why, you know? So that's crazy. Hey, Clyde, you want to pick up from there, or any more
Yeah.
questions or comments on what we're talking about? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a comment on this inconsistency. So it's talking about this reputation that I want, but I don't deserve. So it's who I really am versus who I want you to think I am. And there's an inconsistency between those two. And that inconsistency is getting worse. Because of these sprees. What I want you to think of me and what I really am is getting wider and wider apart. That's the inconsistency being made worse. So, yeah, that's my comment on that. So it tells us, we hope that it'll never see the light of day. We're under constant fear and tension, and that's making us drink more. So it's just making the problem worse and worse. So that's why this step is so important. And so, yeah, I'll go ahead and read the next paragraph. And it's talking about getting real and getting honest. It says that psychologists are inclined to agree with us. It says we have spent thousands of dollars for examinations. We know but few instances where we have given these doctors a fair break. Boy, am I guilty of this. We have seldom told them the whole truth, nor have we followed their advice. Man, is that applicable to me. Unwilling to be honest with these sympathetic men, we were honest with no one else. Even ourselves. I was not honest with myself either. I was in denial. Small wonder many in the medical profession have a low opinion of alcoholics and their chance for recovery. Yeah, being honest is such an important thing that I was totally unable to do for a long time. Anybody else been dishonest with yourself, just kidding yourself and dishonest with other people? Is it just me, or has anyone else in here been dishonest before?
I have to
Yeah.
say, I've been dishonest, and I'm just learning what the things I've done dishonestly were. Like, I couldn't even name them. I just walked on that I could do those despicable types of behaviors and not even be, what was the word? Just, stricken with the fact that it was terrible to behave that way. Like, no conscience. Like, I just was like that. Yeah. And to go to counselors and say, fix this, I don't even know what I'm asking to be fixed, because I'm pretending half the time just for survival. So I think that's a lot of it.
I have to, I was always, yeah, alcoholic, liar, that's me. So I was dishonest with my doctor so much that I was being prescribed more and more medicine, and I was heavily medicated, which caused me to not be able to get up out of bed. And, and I was just like forgetting some medications, and I was just like all over the place until I came into AA, and then I was honest with him. And then I was like, okay, just take two different medications instead of like the 5 or 6 that he was trying to prescribe me because of my dishonesty, And so that, yeah, we can harm ourselves with all that lying and dishonesty. So, well, it's proven. It's proven by my health that I was being heavily medicated because of my dishonesty. So, yeah, thank you.
Right. Thank you, Patty. Yeah, I'm just looking again at the top of the page here on 73, and it talks about completing my house cleaning. And it says the reason, people relapse is because They don't disclose everything and they aren't completely honest. It says they had not learned enough of humility, fearlessness, and honesty in the sense we find it necessary until they told someone else all their life story. All is italicized. That includes the really embarrassing stuff that I swore I was going to take to the grave, the things that I feel guilty about and I'm embarrassed and shamed by. I have to get that out to complete my house cleaning. I have to be honest. Honesty is a big part of this program, and this step makes you be honest. And here it is again, bottom of the page.
Same thing. That's right. Go ahead.
Yeah, we must be entirely honest. There it
We
is.
what? We what?
We must. This is
Must.
not a suggestion.
Must.
Must. And
Mm.
go ahead. Yeah, we must. Yeah.
We must be entirely honest with somebody, right? If we expect to live long or happily in this world, right? Now, listen, the thing about it is that's why it's important for us to come in here and take the steps and have a fifth step experience so that we can be that somebody, you know? Because I had never, I'm still not, I tell people, I tell my sponsor and my network more than I tell my doctor. I let my doctor know that I'm an alcoholic dope fiend, but I think that's about as far as it goes, you know? And but before coming into AA, I wouldn't even tell him that because if I was afraid that if I told him that he wouldn't give me stuff to get me high when I wanted to. That's what that was all about. You know, I need to keep this secret from him because if he finds out that I'm an addict, he's not going to be giving me stuff to get high when I need it or not. You know, so we must be entirely honest with somebody, right? And usually, you know, as alcoholics, we are that somebody. That's important. We are that somebody because it's in this program here is where most of us learn how to get honest and sit across from another human being eyeball to eyeball and say what we really needed to say in order to get well. Let me say that again. Say what we needed to say in order to get well. That's why we're doing this. We're doing this to get well. We don't want to be sick anymore because we are as sick as our secrets, you know? Our secrets keep us in the dark, you know? So, yeah, just wanted to emphasize that and encourage us to move on and do these things so that we can be that person that someone would get honest with us. And that's where we save lives at, you know? Sitting across the table, working with other alcoholics.
Yeah. Okay. So when he continues, Bill's telling us, rightly and naturally, we think well. Remember in the third step, we thought well before we took that step. Now we're going to think well before we choose the person or persons with whom to take this intimate and confidential step. So we don't just, you know, pick whoever for whatever. We decide, you know, we want to pray about it and think well about it, who we're going to take this step with. And he goes on to tell us that those of us belonging to a religious denomination, which requires confession, must, and of course will want to, go to the properly appointed authority whose duty it is to receive it. This confession thing has been going on for thousands of years. It's in fact, that's where this step came from, the Oxford group, a Christian group. And one of their steps in their 6 steps that Bill expanded into 12 was confession. And so if you're a member of a organized religion that has confession, the Catholic priests listen to confession all the time from the members of their parishioners. And so if you're a member of that group, of course, you're going to want to do your 5th step with your priest, okay? And in addition, you could also do it with your sponsor. You know, we've heard examples of that being really helpful to some of our members that are religious. They do both their sponsor fifth step with their sponsor and with a priest or a minister. So it says, though we have no religious connection, we may still do well to talk with someone ordained by an established religion. And the reason is they're familiar with this concept, and they do it all the time, and they know what we're getting at and why we're doing it. That's it says, we often find such a person quick to see and understand our problem. Of course, okay, so that's the important thing. They're very familiar with what we're doing and why we're doing it. And then it says, of course, we sometimes encounter people who do not understand alcoholics. So you don't want to.
Stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you brought up a great point, and we need to hear this. And the bottom line is, and this has been my experience too, you do not have to be a Catholic in order to go to a Catholic priest and make confession. You know, I've been there a few times. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. And that's the only question that he asked me, if I believed in God. I told him I believed in God, and then we moved on, you know? So don't think, oh, I'm not a Catholic. And I'm good. And this is my experience. My experience is that, that system that they have, it really works well. I've gotten relief from it, really gotten relief from it. I've done it a few times. I look forward to even doing it again. And it's just, listen, and what I tell people, what I suggest to people is, you know, just experience it. And if you don't like it, never go again. But go for yourself, you know? And it's as simple as opening your phone up, putting in your zip code and saying Catholic Confession Church nearby. And a bunch of them will come up. You just pick one. You don't know them, they don't know you, you know? And they're there probably on Saturdays from 11 to 2 or 1 to 3, you know, it'll tell you right there. And you just go there and say what you know that you need to say to get well. See, this is all about getting well still. Say what you need to say to get free and to get well, and move on, man. And move on, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, I want to point out, you just brought up something that triggered me. In the spiritual experience, the appendix in the back of the book, it talks about the 3 essentials, indispensables for us recovering alcoholics is honesty, is willingness, honesty, and open-mindedness. And so I'm willing, you know, Kelly said the set-aside prayer for us before we started this. And so I'm willing to try something new. And I'm going to be honest and admit that, and open-minded enough to go see a priest. And I think, you know, there's Catholics, I think other, like maybe Lutheran or Episcopalian, whatever. I'm going to go see an ordained minister or a priest. There's a Catholic church right here by my house. And I'm going to do this. It's because, and here's why. It says, though we have no religious connection, we may still do well to talk with someone ordained by an established religion. I'm going to give it a try because Bill tells us it's worth doing. Cousin Jonathan had positive experience with it. And I figure, hey, I'm going to try it too. I'm willing, I'm honest, and I'm open-minded. So I'm going to do this sometime in the next, maybe right after the new year, I'll go do this. So
that's what's up. And I'm glad that you brought that up. And I'm glad that you used that word that I didn't know what the hell it meant for so many years. Indispensable. Our literature tells us that these 3 things are indispensable. And they are willingness, honesty, and open-mindedness. Now, indispensable means that Clyde can't do it for me. My mama can't do it for me. My sister can't do it. Nobody can be open-minded for me. No one can be honest for me. And no one can be willing for me. Ain't that something? As bad as they might want to, no one can do these things for us. These things must come from us and only us. Isn't that something? Indispensable. That's what that means. I can't borrow it. I can't loan it. You know, no one can do it for me. It's got to be done by me, for me.
mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody else have any comments about this? Who we're gonna, we're thinking well before we choose the person or persons. I mean, the majority of the time, it's our sponsor, of course.
Yeah, I like to ask, is there anyone who hasn't tried this who's going to be willing to give it a try? That's a simple question. Yes or no? You know, anybody who hasn't tried this that think that they're willing to maybe give this a try?
Yeah, actually, I called a group, it's called Sisters of the Providence, and they have a group where you fill out, she told me, I fill out some questions. I'm still looking for the email. I fill out some questions and they bring it before their panel and they pray about it and they see within their panel group who would best be to meet my needs of counsel, which is, you know, reflection and that. So I'm in the process of this because I was a very tentative in my fragile condition of trust and fear and intolerance of people. I'm just in God's timing, you know, I'm willing to go through this experience with somebody who has a spiritual connection and is led to actually do this as a service, as I should go after I get cleared of what mine is to share the same experience. And it says it's absolutely necessary. Indispensable means absolutely necessary. It has to be done. It's you can't skip putting oil in your car, you know.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So yeah, congratulations on that. I wish you the best with that. I wish you a great experience, you know, and I often say that my experience has been awesome, you know, awesome. And I never expected it to be, you know, I didn't know what to expect, but it was awesome, you know. Wow. Yep.
Okay. So should we read some more instructions on this fifth step?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So here's what he tells us next. He says, if we cannot, this is Bill, he wrote all this. If we cannot or would rather not do this, we search our acquaintance for a close-mouthed, understanding friend. Perhaps our doctor or psychologist will be the person. It says it may be one of our own family, but we cannot disclose anything to our wives or husbands or parents, which will hurt them and make them unhappy.
Stop right there, Clyde.
Yeah.
Now, this is the dated part of this book, because the reason that he even says that is because there were so few alcoholics helping one another at this time that we may have had to sit down with somebody that we knew. But that is definitely not the case these days. That is definitely not the case these days. There's more than enough people, you know, to sit down with who understand us that we can talk to. And of course, you know, we're going to talk, when we get to the ninth step, we are going to talk to our family and close friends. But by then, we'll know what to say, what to disclose and what not to disclose, because we don't want to hurt them or worry them, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and again, it says we have no right to save our own skin at another person's expense. So my cousin was saying, it's best to not be disclosing, you know, these dark secrets and things like that, and our defects and war stories and stuff with people that we're close to and love us, because it could be awkward. It could be harmful to them and an uncomfortable period. So it's best to find someone else. So it says that such parts of our story we tell to someone who will understand yet be unaffected. That's the whole point right there. That's the rule. Unaffected. And if it's someone that's close to you, a family member, a very close friend, they could be affected. In fact, more than likely they will be affected. And so that rules them out. And speaking of rules, it says the rule is we must be hard on ourselves, but always considerate of others. So we can be considerate of the people that are close to us and love us by sharing our inventory with someone else, so with some other alcoholic that is a, you know, disinterested third party, basically, not so close to us in our day-to-day life. Is that pretty clear?
Yeah, and Clyde, and we know that honesty is particularly the top at the top level in this step and the ninth step, but it almost tells you the difference between the two. You know, when we go to make a ninth step, sure, we're going to disclose some things, but we're going to disclose the things that are about that person that we're sitting down with, not about other stuff. You know, yeah, we're going to admit the wrong that we did to them, but we're not going to go and sit and like this would be admitting the wrong that we've done to a lot of different people, places, and things to a person that we need to just be dealing with whatever issue we have with them and making that right. That's the difference. Can you see that?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. So, okay, well, we'll continue with the directions here. He says, notwithstanding the great necessity for discussing ourselves with someone. So this is, again, there's that word. He referred to it as must before. Now he's calling it a great necessity. So this isn't a suggestion, it's a necessity to discuss ourselves with someone. Okay. So it's not optional. It may be one is so situated that there is no suitable person available. Now, again, I guess that depends on where you live and, you know, what your situation is, you know, geographically. But if you live anywhere near a city and where people are, you know, there's plenty of people available. But so it says, if that is the case, and it could be, if that is so, that you can't find a suitable person available, it says the step may be postponed. Only, however, if we hold ourselves in complete readiness to go through with it at the first opportunity. And again,
now, postpone don't mean skipped, right? Does that mean I skip it?
No.
No. You know, we alcoholics. You know, you say postpone to me, that I don't have to do it. I don't have to do it. You know.
yeah, and again, Cousin brought it up earlier. This was written in 1939, and there were about 100 people sober by this point, by the time this was published. And so the alcoholism and recovery and sharing partners and sponsor, all that stuff. So it could have been a case back then where you would have a hard time. Imagine there's only 100 recovered alcoholics, and you know they're spread out, you know, between Akron and New York and Cleveland and Chicago. And so what if you couldn't find somebody? You could postpone, not skip completely, but while you found somebody. I think that's what they're talking about here.
And also, Clyde, this brings us exactly to the way that it was. People would buy the book, they would read it, follow the instructions in the book, and get sober and start sharing it with other people. So there were people actually who got sober just through the big book. And they had to postpone their fifth step until further notice. You know, because there really weren't any other admitted alcoholics around. Yeah. Isn't that simple? Yeah. They would get the book in the mail. They'd get the book in the mail and be told, get a note telling them that there are instructions. They'd get the book with a note on how to read the book, you know, what to do. And they'd have to take it from there, some people, you know.
Yeah. So, again, to show, I'm just going to reread the foreword to the first edition, the sentence I love, to show other alcoholics precisely how we have recovered is the main purpose of this book. So that's why he wrote the book, to show us precisely how, and it's spelled out here. And so he's saying, look, you may not be able to find your suitable person, and that's okay. You can postpone it. And here's what he said. He goes on to say, he says, as long as we're in complete readiness to go through with it at the first opportunity. He says, we say this because we are very anxious that we talk to the right person. So he wants us to talk to the right person. And here's what he considers the right person. It is important that he be able to keep a confidence. So somebody that's not going to go reviewing your personal inventory with other people. So someone that can keep it confidential. Next, that he fully understand and approve what we're driving at. So you want someone that understands and approves what you're doing, not just some random person that has no idea what's going on. So that would indicate to me a clue that maybe we should be looking for either like a priest or an ordained minister. They understand and approve what we're doing. If another alcoholic would understand and approve what we're doing. And there were, limited choices back then to meet these criteria. And that he will not try to change our plan. So I've probably come up with a plan, and I don't want somebody coming in and trying to change it and give me unsolicited advice. But it says, but we must not use this as a mere excuse to postpone.
Stop right there, Clyde.
Yeah.
And this just I want to see if anybody can. This reminds me of my experience, and I was anxious to sit down and talk to somebody after finding out, putting a finger on the rough things about me. After doing the 4th step, I was anxious to sit down and talk to someone. Anybody else experience that, or did it happen like you had to go to the fucking dentist?
No, it happened to me too, cousin.
You was ready, right? You was ready.
I was ready once I did.
Yeah, I was super
I was ready to
this
talk to
time.
somebody.
Yeah,
I just, it felt right to just get it out. It was beautiful. I call it one of my spiritual awakenings, because it was like, I don't know, like once I got it out, I felt this light just in me, and I was just on fire to move forward. Yeah.
I got relief. I got some relief from the 4th, so much relief that I knew that I was going to get more from the 5th. And nobody had to tell me twice. And that wasn't always my experience, because I had sat down and let people take me through the steps before. But at that time, I was doing the step a month program, or the step every 2 months, or whenever we feel like it. It wasn't like they sat me down and said, we'll be finished when we're through. That's what happened with me this time. And I'm glad they did it like that. It was like, you're not coming back next week. And so anyway, when we were finished, and I knew that I had to do a 5th step, I had to make an 8th step list and do a 9th step. That's what it was about. That's what was left for me after that weekend. And I was so ready to do that 5th step. I was so ready for the first time. In the past, you had to hunt me down. I had a guy before, you had to fucking hunt me down. I see him in meetings. I'm looking at the fucking floor, and all of that kind. You know what I mean. Until he finally cornered me. And then what I did at that time was I told him some bullshit just to get him away from me. The guy was trying to sponsor me, and I told him just enough for him to leave me alone. Wait, all right, what's up? Lindsay's here. We could get started again.
Okay. So yeah, next. So this is, we're getting into, we're going to find out, we get our final directions here, and then we're going to learn what the promises are. And these are amazing. So it says, when we decide who is to hear our story, we waste no time. So that means just go do it now. It's time. We have a written inventory, and we are prepared for a long talk. So let's take I'm going to stop right there. And if you have your big book handy, go to page 263. Turn to page 263, because this ties in perfectly with what we're about to, prepared for a long talk. This is the story of Earl T. He was sponsored by Dr. Bob, and he was one of the original guys with the Cleveland, Ohio group, just like Clarence Snyder was sponsored by Dr. Bob. one of the original 40 guys that got sober, 40 alcoholics that got sober. And so here's what he says. You know, he talks about spending 3 or 4 hours at Dr. Bob's office. And here's what he says about the step. By the way, you can see the 6 steps at the time on page 263. And you can see how all 12 steps are included within those 6. Bill expanded them. And confession was their 4th step. That's where what they got from the Oxford group. So I just want to read here. It says, Dr. Bob led me through all of these steps. At the moral inventory, so this is where it says we're prepared for a long talk. Here's what we're talking about. It says he brought up several of my bad personality traits or character defects, such as selfishness, conceit, jealousy, carelessness, intolerance, ill temper, sarcasm, and resentments. We went over these at great length. See, we're prepared for a long
Step 5.
Yeah.
Step 5, right there. We went over these at great length. Right.
Yes. And then here's step 6 and 7. He finally asked me if I wanted these defects of character removed.
If I'm willing.
Yes.
If I'm willing.
If I'm willing. And then when I said yes, that means he was willing. He took his 6th step then, and then we both knelt at his desk and prayed, each of us asking to have these defects taken away. That's our current step 7. We'll get there.
7th step, yeah.
But I just wanted to point out, this is that long talk. We're going to talk these things through at great length and get to the bottom of, you know, what we're doing wrong. What are our defects? So back to page 75, we have a written inventory and we are prepared for a long talk. So we explain to our partner what we're about to do and why we have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he should realize that we are engaged upon a life and death errand. Do you hear that? That's how important. I just can't stress to you enough how important this 5th step is. Remember earlier, he told us if we don't, the most important reason is if we skip this vital step, we may not overcome drinking. And then he talked about the must and the great necessity. This is serious stuff. Now he's calling it a life and death errand. So
and you know something, Clyde, when I think about it, that's exactly how I did this too, because you know, I'm often on Zoom and I'm often on the phone and stuff like that, taking care of stuff. But I know that when I went to sit down and do my 5th step, I know that I told my wife what I was going to do, and I said I can't be disturbed right now. You know, don't tap me on the shoulder. Sometimes she'll tap me on the shoulder. I'm on Zoom or I'm on the phone. I said I can't be. I can't be disturbed. I need an hour or 2 where I really can't be disturbed. This is important. I actually did that. You know, yeah.
Yeah, this is really important. So, life and death errand. And he says that most people approached in this way will be glad to help. They will be honored by our confidence. And it is an honor to listen to people's 5th step is a really it's a privilege and an honor. And it helps me more than it helps the person that's sharing their 5th step with me. If you're sponsoring people and listening to others' 5th steps, it really is a great experience for both people. You know, it's in our script all the time. It may help you more than it helps them. I'm a firm believer that it does. It's amazing. So it's good to share your 5th step, discuss your defects and issues with other people, and it's great to listen to other people too. It's a miracle the way it works. It's incredible.
Now it's going to tell us exactly how we do it. Read that, Clyde. This is exactly how we do it.
Yeah, this is how you do it. So we pocket our pride. That means no more of this stage character, this actor, none of that stuff, none of that BS trying to make you think, you know, who I'm somebody I'm not. It's time to pocket my pride and be honest and go to it, illuminating every twist of character every dark cranny of the past. And so if I just get completely open and honest and share everything with you, no matter how embarrassing it is, doesn't matter, it's all got to come out. Here's what happens. These are the promises. Once we have taken this step, withholding nothing, it doesn't say, you know, taking this step and disclosing most of my, you know, wreckage from my past and you know, history that I'm embarrassed about. Withholding nothing says we are delighted. We can look the world in the eye. We can be alone at perfect peace and ease. Our fears fall from us. Listen to all of this. We begin to feel the nearness of our Creator. Our higher power is warming us up. We may have had certain spiritual beliefs, but now we begin to have a spiritual experience. Wow, the feeling that the drink problem has disappeared will often come strongly. We feel we are on the broad highway, walking hand in hand with the spirit of the universe. Wow, that's a lot.
That's what we want. That's what we want. You know, that's what we want. That's why we came here. I didn't know it. I didn't know it, but that's why I came here, you know, so that I could be free. You know, this is talking about freedom. Freedom to be who I truly can now, you know, because I put the past behind me. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, those are some big promises, but as long as, and I can test, if I'm not experiencing these promises, I need to check myself and make sure that I did pocket my pride and I did eliminate every twist of character and I withheld nothing. Then I can be delighted. And I want to say also that I've had several of these experiences over the years. Lots. Like the first one was just an absolutely phenomenal experience. I'd only been sober for about 2 weeks when I completed this, and it was like, wow, what a relief. I felt 100 pounds lighter. It was incredible. But I've had multiple miraculous experiences with all of these promises several times over the years. And I just had one a couple weeks ago, doing a fifth step with one of the young men I sponsor. It's incredible. And God just keeps, they keep getting more deeper and more profound, my relationship with my higher power. And these promises keep coming true with more frequency and on a deeper level. It's really amazing. So, okay. So does anyone here have, I heard some people talking about it earlier. Have you experienced these promises? Have you taken your fifth step? Have you listened to someone else's fifth step and participated in the joy of them experiencing these promises? What are your experiences with these promises in the middle of page 75 here?
Well, for me, I know for me, that's exactly how I felt. That's exactly how I feel after taking these steps, delighted. And I did believe in God, but it was so completely opposite of how I feel my relationship with God is today. I have a spiritual experience every day. It may be small, it may be big, but just being close to my Creator, it just, like right now I'm feeling it. There's this warmth in my body, and it's just like, it's a spiritual experience, and it's just beautiful. It's just a beautiful thing that I feel every day. Even on some days that I have bad moments, I can just go to my Creator, and it's just a beautiful thing. I just love AA and my spiritual life now.
Thanks for sharing with us, Patty. Wonderful. Hey, come on in, Lindsay. Whoops. Sorry, I think yeah.
Good afternoon, Lindsay, grateful recovering alcoholic. I've had plenty, but wowie. The other day I went to the pet store actually to pick up some food for my lizards. And this little puppet, this lamb chop puppet that I loved, it was sitting there and I wanted to get the biggest one there because I was so excited and had a childlike energy about me, and it's like I've never ever experienced this level of joy. I didn't know I could be as crazy as what I actually am sober, you know what I mean? And I'm like, but it's playful. So I get this little tiny lamb chop toy, okay? And I come and I'm shopping. I got all this stuff, and I think, oh, and my phone dies, so I don't know what time it is. I'm like, I want to make it back for this 2:30 music meeting, and I get it all geared up. And what is the song that's played? Lamb Chop Play Along. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Okay. And some people won't get that. Some people won't understand that. But to me, that's not magic. That's God. That's God. That's not the first time something like that's happened to me. And it keeps happening. The more that I pray, the more that I do the steps, the more that I show up and do the work, the more this stuff happens. And the promises are endless. They don't have a cap. That's incredible. Thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're great.
Yeah, I was there for that. I was there. I was there when for that day. That's right. Great experience. When she brought the lamb chop in, and then somebody played that lamb chop song, I was like, wow. And what I want to talk about is the last thing before it tells us that we're going to sit down and take the book down from ourselves. What a wonderful way to live. It says that now we are walking hand in hand on a broad highway with our Creator. Just imagine that, 8-10 lanes. We can switch lanes. And what that means to me is that the things that I would come across that would block me, I got room to go around them now. With God. We can go around these things now. We can now we can start to navigate. Because before, remember, we had the emergency brake on. We were driving with the emergency brake on. So, the fifth step, it releases that emergency brake. And now we can start down that highway rolling smoothly without that sound of
Yeah. So, okay. So here's what we do. This is the second time we pause in taking the steps. The first time was in the third step, and it said we thought well before taking this step, making sure we were at last, ready to abandon ourselves utterly at last to God once and for all. So we paused before we took that third step because it's that significant. Now, we just completed our fifth step, and we're going to pause again after this. And here's what he tells us. Returning home, we find a place where we can be quiet for an hour. So we're going to take a 1 hour break here, carefully reviewing what we have done. So we're going to do a careful review. So first, we thank God from the bottom of our heart. That means sincerely. Cousin Jonathan and I love that from the third step. Sincerely, we thank God from the bottom of our heart that we know him better.
Clyde, stop right there. Stop right there. Instructions. Can I follow instructions? The book tells me to go and sit down for an hour. Why do I sit down 3 hours? Why do I take 2 weeks off? I want to do it my way. That is a discipline. And you know what? I'm going to do that. I don't remember how long I sat down and thought about what I was going to share, what I had just shared with someone. But I know it wasn't an hour. It wasn't an hour because we moved right on. It was probably, we took a break though. We did take a break. He did give me a break. I remember that. That was like lunch. It was like you better eat and think at the same time because we're moving on. So it was like lunch. But wow, this is so interesting that it would give us those specific instructions. It's like something that me and Clyde are working on right now and I'm not afraid to tell them about the Our Father, Clyde. You know, we were looking at the Our Father prayer, and we got a lot out of it, and then we found out that that was, as of right now, that's the only prayer that I need to pray, because I was doing all kinds of other stuff, like speaking in tongues and making up my own stuff, and I got it going on. And let me show you how good I could do it. Remember that? You know how that can go. You know what I'm saying? You put me across from my wife, and I say, honey, we're gonna pray. And the next thing you know, I'm sounding like fucking Martin Luther King, and I'm not. So what happened is, after doing all of that, what happened was I seemed like I wasn't getting anywhere. To be honest, seemed like I wasn't getting anywhere. I was on this treadmill thing going on, because every time I prayed different. Because I'm praying from the heart, So finally something, well, God told me, he said the same thing that you guys tell me. Take it back to the basics. Take it back to the basics. So what I did was, I prayed the Our Father out of the book and stopped. I wanted to go on though, right? You know that I wanted to put my flashy flair on it, on the end. But I stopped. And I said, okay, I'm gonna see how this thing works out. At the end of the day, I did the same thing. And I'm being honest with you. I was tempted. And I stopped. I did this for about a week or so. And I came and told Clyde what I was doing. And I told him how difficult it is. Wow. I thought it would be easy. It's difficult. It's getting easier now. I've been doing it about a month. The only prayer I pray is the Our Father. Now, I thank God and stuff like that, but I don't do my own flowery made up, all the scriptures that I know thing that I could do, I stopped doing that. And I am getting marvelous results. And I'm really hearing what I'm praying now. And I really starting to understand what I'm saying now, and I'm not going to have it any other way, and until that's what I'm going to do until further notice. I haven't received further notice yet, but it's working, man. I wake up in the morning, I pray the Our Father. Now I'm starting to do it sincerely. What actually happened to me is, now listen to this, you're not going to believe this. After about 2 weeks of doing this, I prayed the Our Father and actually started crying. I ain't never cried on the Our Father. That thing is so simple. I do it with the back of my eyes closed and all of this, that, because I was just rattling it off. You get it? And as I started, and I started to well up. Imagine that. The Our Father is not just for 7-year-olds in Catholic school anymore. It's for grown men. I thought it was a child's prayer all my life. Anybody can identify? That's a child's prayer. It's not for me. I'm grown. I'm mature. No. That is a very mature prayer when I learned how to really look at it for what it is. Follow the instructions. Jesus said, and when you pray, let's just say the man from Galilee, a man from Galilee once said, when asked, teach us to pray, he simply said, when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and say this: Our Father, which art in heaven, holy be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses. That's it. He didn't say to say anything else. But me, I could add all kinds of, I got to put cherries on top of that thing. I stopped doing that, and it's working. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. You know, so yeah, that's and that just stems from what made me think of that is that sitting down for an hour. He says, returning home, we find a quiet place to sit down for 1 hour. That's all he says. But I could do all kinds of other stuff. Wow. Yeah. Anybody can identify with that. I know I went on a rant on that one, but it is what it is. The simplicity, you know. I want to sit down 4 or 5 hours.
Mhm.
It only says I need to sit down an hour.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's special. Thank you, cousin. The reason I showed this is because I hand wrote it at the top of this page. I recite that prayer myself several times a day and quietly, just exactly the way the man from Galilee said to say it. And I pause, it's 7 lines. I pause after each line and just experience it. It's amazing. Thank you, cousin. I'm having the same experience cousin is with it. It's amazing.
And what it really is, Clyde, what it is really is it's showing us how to follow instructions, and it's showing us some discipline. Because sometimes I still want to do, but I don't. I still want to, I'm tempted, I'm tempted, but don't
Yeah.
move on, Come on in, Lindsay.
Lindsay, grateful recovering alcoholic. I've actually had a very, very similar experience to that, where something that I've read and I've been reading over and over and over again, all of a sudden feels very different in my body when I'm saying it, whether it be extremely happy, whether it be sad. It's like a whole different, complete different experience. I know that the poem Footprints in the Sand, I've had with me since I was a kid, and I've read it a million times. But when I shared my story and I read that poem at the very beginning, it had a whole different meaning once I came in and did the doing the 12 steps. Like, it was incredible. But I wake up and I do the On Awakening and 3rd and 7th step prayer, and I'm going to keep doing it because you know what, those are really, really important. I do believe that they're making an impact on my life. I just haven't had the full understanding of it yet, but I look forward to it. Thanks.
Okay, we were just in the we were just in the 12 steps in 4 hours last week when something happened with me and Clyde and the rest of us when we did the 3rd step prayer. What happened was we did it very slow all together, and the bottom line was all of us got caught on God, I offer myself to thee.
Yeah. To build with me.
Why? To build with me.
That was
and
it.
to do with me as you will.
Mm-hmm.
It's different from rattle. When I used to rattle these things off, they meant nothing. And then then there were people in the room that had never did that before. And we asked them to say it again so that they could hear it in their own voice. And it was, and it still is. God, I offer myself to thee.
Mm-hmm.
I never even heard that before. I'm just, God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me, to do with me. It's like I'm singing a song, But no, it's serious. This is serious business. God, I offer myself to thee,
Mm-hmm.
turning my life over to God, for real, Yeah, so yeah, that's what happens when we start to grow in understanding through this program. This program really helps us to get a better understanding of things that we've been doing, for an appreciation, right? Clyde, when you say an appreciation and a better understanding of what we're actually doing.
Yeah, and a deeper experience with it.
Yeah.
The experience is growing deeper. Yeah.
Yeah. It starts to mean something. It starts to mean something because our life has meaning now.
Mm-hmm.
Our life has meaning. What's up, Mo? I see you out there.
Hey, Mo. Well, so let's go ahead and finish the directions for the 5th step here. see what, so we've thanked God, and that's what triggered this little tangent we just went off on about thanking God from the
Mhm.
bottom of our heart that we know him better. What a wonderful experience. Amazing. So it tells us and that we're being quiet for an hour, thanking God, and we taking this book down from our shelf. We turn to the page which contains the 12 steps. That's page 59. At the beginning of chapter 5, how it works. Page 59 has the 11 steps on page 59 and the 12th step on page 60. So he tells us, carefully reading the first 5 proposals, that's steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, we ask if we have omitted anything, for we are building an arch through which we shall walk a free man at last. So he wants us to read those first 5 steps and consider. He says, is our work solid so far? Are the stones properly in place? Have we?
These are questions.
Yeah.
These are questions.
Yeah, we need to be honest about this. Those first 5 steps, we're reading them and we're asking ourselves, have we done have I conceded to my innermost self, I'm an alcoholic? Have I come to believe that a power greater than myself can restore me to sanity, that I need a power greater than myself? Have I turned my will and my life over to God? Am I convinced that any of my life run on self-will can hardly be a success? And have I decided to quit playing God because it doesn't work, and sincerely take the position that he is my director? Have I been sincere? Did I do a searching and fearless moral inventory? Did I get everything down on paper? All the resentments and anger, all the fear, all the harms done, everything that's wrong, every nook and cranny. Did I get that stuff down? And did I share it all, open and honest? Was I entirely honest, every nook and cranny, with another human being? So these are the questions, that's how I can make sure that the work is solid so far. The stones are properly in place. Have we skimped on the cement put into the foundation? Have we tried to make mortar without sand? So this is the purpose of me spending an hour carefully reviewing those first 5 steps and make sure that I have been thorough and honest about everything. So if that's the case, the top of page 76 says, if we can answer to our satisfaction, if I decide that, yes, I have been thorough with all this, we then look at step 6. So I think we'll pick up next week on step 6 at the top of page 76. So that can
Great.
Yeah,
That's
the 5th step.
that sounds about right. But we've done a lot today. We've read a lot, and wow, this has been a great page here. Great page. Any questions or comments on what we've read and done here today? Anyone? Well, I know it's been great for me. I'm so glad that I've been here with you guys today. And I wouldn't rather have been anyplace else, I'll tell you that right now. So going once, going twice.
No, I just would like, Mo, grateful recovering alcoholic, just would like to chime in and just thank you for today's readings. I was in the background doing some prep work for our dinner, for my daughter's dinner, doing some pot pies, but I was listening to the whole session, and it was great. It was great. Thank you for just letting us know what's going on with this book, because it's very complicated sometimes, but you guys make it so easy and understandable. Thank you for everything you do.
It's you too, Mo. We thank you for coming out. You're here all the time supporting this thing, and we know that you know how to read this book too. You know, and we're glad that you come out and support us, man, for real. And that's what makes this thing great. Okay, anyone else? Any last comments before we close up?
Yes, I would like to thank you guys also because when I study this book, I just get so much out of it. This like so much more is revealed. And with this, I was able to get some knowledge, gain some more knowledge. So when I work with others, I can go ahead and especially with the fifth step, you know, being honored to go through someone else and their fifth step. I mean, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing for me, and I hope that it's a beautiful thing for those that I work with. So I thank you guys. Thank you.
All right, thank you, thank you. And we know Lindsay is here. She's one of our faithful. She's always here with us, you know. And Lindsay's gonna have her own podcast soon. I could see it coming, you know. Yeah. So, all right, great day to be sitting here with you people, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So, this is how we close the meeting with the big book, page 64. Our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize that we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and us. Ask him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order. But obviously, you cannot transmit something that you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is a great fact for us. So, abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past and give freely what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road to happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then. Thank you all for coming out. Let's close this meeting with the Lord's Prayer for all who care to join. Don't forget, we meet here every Sunday from 2 to 3:30 p.m. So who woke us up this morning? Our Father,
Our Father,
who art
Lord
in
in
heaven,
heaven,
holy be
Hallowed
thy
be
name.
thy
hallowed
name.
be thy name.
Lord, be
Thy
thy name.
kingdom
Thy
come,
kingdom come,
Kingdom
Thy
come,
will
thy
be
will
will
be
be
done
done
on
on
earth
earth
on
as it is
earth
in
as
heaven.
it is in
Give
heaven.
us this day our daily
Give
Give
us
us
this
daily
this
day our
bread.
day our
daily
daily
bread.
bread.
Forgive
trespasses.
us
Forgive our
our
Forgive us our
trespasses,
Forgive
trespasses.
those who
as
trespass
we
Forgive
against
forgive
Forgive
those who
those who
trespass
trespass
Lead
against
us
against
us.
us.
not into
And lead
temptation,
us
Lead us
not
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 into
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 temptation,
but
temptation.
temptation.
but deliver us
Deliver
from
us from
evil.
evil.
For thine
him
is the
For thine
kingdom,
is the
the
power,
Thine is the
kingdom,
power,
kingdom,
the
glory,
and the
power,
glory,
forever
power,
and ever.
forever.
forever and ever.
Amen.
forever and
Amen.
ever. Amen.
Okay. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you all again. And yeah, we'll keep going. We keep doing this thing.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. You know I love you.